So for this tree trunk, we just use a little bit gray, whatever, very, very light, just to position it. And then we'll decide if we use color or later. And you can see the main tree is a little bit on the right side of the center line. And the center of the tree is a little bit lower, I believe, to the, so something like that, right? So you could just, my paper is absorbent. I didn't realize that, so I have to paint fast. That's the main tree. I have a little bit lean to the right as well. And then we do this, this one is on the left, a little lower, but thinner, because this is, belongs to the guest category, the supporting cast. So it's a little bit lower, but not too low, right here, and not a little bit lower on the bottom. That indicates different plane. I have this a little bit too loose with a rat tail. I'm gonna end that there. It should be, and then a little thinner one on the left side, which is in the back. That means a little higher. The higher the farther, right? And then thinner also. So my brush gets a little drier, so I can have a little slower movement. I don't reload in the whole process, so it got some gradation. I start with a little darker and become lighter. So usually we don't reload, but next we can. I will use this dry brush to draw this hair near the top, where the branches come out. So you can just draw some kind of palm fiber. I try not to do it one by one, so I maybe, you know, you can split with the dry brush or the chisel side, the narrow one. You can vary that. And there might be two layers, some kind of stacking, like I think for freestyle you don't have to be so realistic, just a feeling. And this is more like a flowers. Maybe it could be flowers. I'm not sure. Do you think that these are flowers? Maybe they're near the, in between the leaves. Anyway, I just exhausted the brush, so I have this kind of fireworks thing going on top. You see that? Now I will change the color to, let me see. We can have just like bamboo leaves, the dark in the front and lighter in the back, basically. So you can reload the brush. Let me give you an idea of how I load it here. Instead of loading on the cover of the inkstone, I will load it here. So you can see my brush is loaded with dark on the tip. Maybe too dark. Okay, tissue. So you can drag it, kind of lighten it, and try to see if it's too dark. Well, we may need it. Let's see how it come out. So here is the trick. You want something in the front of this, right? But not there. So this main tree actually is behind this one. So maybe we do this one in dark first. This one in between the two. So it's a spark like this. 1, 2, 3. I don't know how many strokes, but it looks like that, right? So there's a branch that comes out near the. I doubled it, but it should be just one. Maybe I can hide some there. It could be doubled because it looks like more than one palm there, right? So maybe just overlap two. So I started with dark and it become lighter. And then I reload the dark again. It's not a pure black. I have water in the brush to lighten it. So this is a large one, and then we will do this one should be actually darker because it's going to be in front of some of the dry brush thing here. So you can do another, let's call it the palm, typical palm element. What is pattern? Yeah, fractal pattern. It's probably 3 large ones. I tried to paint thinner so it bleed into the light, into the wet paints here. And there's overlapping here, right? So I reload with a little pure ink. Make sure it's in the front. Then dry brush, perfect. And you can have some bleed in the center because that's how it looks. And you can blot it with a tissue if you want to stop. And then here there's a half palm.
Yeah, right.
It's the family.
Oh, sure. Now the 1, 2, 3. This quarter view behind the trunk or whatever, the little dry brush. But now the dry brush is covered. Don't worry, you can add back if you need. Maybe we don't worry about this details. Just do this. So this is this tree basically. Let's extend the top. I see some something like the straight branches or stem of those palms going up there, and this bit there. It's a fan out a little bit maybe, and then you can add a little dark, and then one in front of this, 2, 3, 4. I think there are probably more than a dozen strokes. But it is longer on the lower side and shorter because the perspective, I think. And here there's a side, obviously a side view. All this is like a front view, and this is a side view. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's in the front.
Look like this, adjusting. Keep your screen door closed.
And then going to the other direction, you can dry it a little bit. It will become lighter and drier, hopefully. And you can go something like that. It's bending to the back, and this is pretty realistic. I'm sure the artist has a tree painted this in front of tree as a reference. So this is like a side view, and then dry brush again, maybe on top. 1, 2. I think this one is smaller. It looks like the other tree, but I'm not sure. You don't have to, because it could be more than one tree kind of overlapping behind this, but we omit all the trunk. That could be possible. If the brush is light enough, you can extend it all the way to the side, just to complete this supporting group first. We treat this as a practice. After we got used to this, we will do the star tree. So you don't have to do the star first, but keep that in mind when you do this. So this ink is lighter than save some darks for this one, and it becomes smaller and lighter, I guess, because it's behind, right? One, but this one, it has whole stained glass in itself, So this one is in the front. Is the main group, and then here's the back one, and some minor ones you can dry the brush and add some water if needed, to maybe something from outside the picture here, outside the frame here, and then here we have something behind this trunk, right? So you can just leave it, just avoid the center that created some depths. Here we can add a collapsing, I think, just make it more dense on the top. But you have to count on the heights of this tree. You don't want to paint all the way on top. Then this main tree has no contrast, right? You want to keep this in low profile, as low as possible. So that's the tallest I will get, and still have some room for the top. And speaking of the top, you better have a plan first. So you don't want to go all the way, then you find a place on the top. So I do this top, the crown part first, even though it's on the back. Let me see, should we use dark? Logically, it should be something like this, I think. So we just try to match this, not the darkest, but dark. Okay, you can adjust the moisture. And here is the let me enlarge this so you can see better. I'm talking about this group here. Can you see my mouse? That's very important. This one is, what do you see? It's there are 4 or 5 strokes in the front, as we said, dark to begin with, right? So we do that. It's on top, so it's almost right Chinese character small. 1, right? Or bamboo group. 1, 2, 3, and this could be longer. 4, 5. I just do 5. It could be a little more, and then there's the fan out, something like that, right? But there's also the center is here, right here. Can you see that? It's right there.
Yeah.
And then you can use dry brush, just dry it and add a little water, just lighten it. And so do this back, 1, 2, 3. It's pretty long because of the perspective, I guess. And then foreshorten. 1, 2, 3. Right. And then here's the stem or the handle. I call it handle. You understand? It's like the fan made of this kind of fabric. There's a handle. It's naturally on there.
Right.
Right. So there's dark and light. If you could see, it might be more clear after it dries. Now I go for this one. Under it is hiding.
I see it.
The tip. It's an oval shape. The lower part of the oval is longer, and it it's like firework. 1, 2, 3. Like that, right? It's palm, but it has a kind of sharp tip. That's it. And then another firework shape. It's pretty heavy, but it's kind of short. Contrast to the other two. It's like the parents and a child here. 1, 2, 3. Shorter. 3. And 3 on top. Okay, maybe something like that. You can have a little kind of band tip if you want more detail. And you see that curved stem there, like that? It's like this, right? So it's a little bit thinner. And you can lighten it. I think the stem should be lighter for some reason, I think. And drier, so it's not going to bleed. It's more woody. So let me just dry it with my tissue and touch a little water. The water is my color to lighten the dark. And then you can just cross this because the ink is lighter. So I just go like that. Doesn't matter if it's bleed, right? And you can make a crossing there. It's a lot of branch like that. The dry, that's perfect. I like that. And then let's just do all the stems. There's a stem here. There's some stems on this side. You can just draw like this. Maybe there's one hanging. Right? Don't worry. We add a little water and so don't make it too even, so my bottom is still clean, right? And the dark now start in front of these stems. 1, 2, 3. Well, it should be a little longer. Shorter on top, but it might not be even. So this is a 1, and there's another one smaller than the one on top, another baby. And because they're leaves from the other tree, so it makes room, but there are a little bit overlapping. We'll use light because it will be behind logically. We don't want to use dark to overlap with this. So I continue on this side while my brush is still dark. So I'll do this bottom one. So the most important one is dark. And this one is, it has a gesture pointing to the lower left, lower right writing, the poetry or this inscription. Yeah, it has a direction pointing down. You can have something like an arrow. And here there's my communicating with the other one, and then go to the left. So it goes left and then right. Interesting, huh? So it has this kind of tendency. Interesting. See that? They're going something like that. I exaggerated that so you can see. And so my brush is lighter, perfect for something behind. This one we can make it. We couldn't make it here. We use that idea here because this dry brush. I don't know what you have, but if I want to paint something behind, and this is how I do it. I just paint, squeeze out this white hair thing. Maybe something in between, and then let me see. And you have to keep the units same size, right? Let me try to make a overlapping here. It's not on the handout, the sample, but I try to make it up, so it's just overlapping like this, half, right, and then just something. Oops. Yeah. It goes like this. So they shaking hands. With this tree, you don't have to make them separate. Well, some leaves could come in front. Anyway, I did my best I could to make them not competing. 1, 2. I think there are 2 overlapping, so we just do one, and then in light, then a darker one on top. That's also possible. The darker one has this side view again, so this kind of flat view. leaves has turns, right? It's
Yeah.
flat blades and bending. Okay. So make a contrast. It on the book it doesn't show you but it uses outline to make depths. And we can use the ink tones to create that kind of feeling. You can put some polys or whatever for the I don't think so. I don't really know what's. I saw something like flowers that you have this palms. You have to absorb. After I did the rose in my class yesterday, I see the rose differently. I noticed something I didn't notice before. That's how we learn. And then you look at a picture. If needed, you can add some minor adjustment in group or just a few strokes. But do leave a lot of empty space. Just make the shape looks nice. All right, and then not the first strokes for the trunk is almost dry, and you can dry the brush and then make it split, and then a little dark. Let me see. Or you can just do one by one. I think I try to do it in some shortcuts. So it's horizontal from both sides, right? And it has a little curve to create a volume for the roundness. It's like you paint somebody's arm or leg. You
follow the contour.
They call it the contour, the volume. Right?
What I call it.
You call it the contour? I think I'm talking about this horizontal. The contour is more vertical, right? I didn't draw the contour. I just draw the horizontals.
Huh.
The horizontal texture, but it's rounded. It's rounded to indicate the volume, the 3D, the curve, maybe the roundness of the trunk, right? So it's not flat. It has a little curve. Let's do it again here. Maybe it has to do with the perspective. I think maybe near the bottom the curve up is like that, and then near the top where the eye level is maybe more flat, and then if it's above the eye level it's supposed to be curved the other way downward. But don't worry, I think mostly it looks like curve up or either just leveled. So a little bit more curve on the bottom, maybe more logic. If you're familiar with perspective, use that. Yeah. And here, just make sure the main trunk here has. You can make up some contour like you mentioned. So you can make a little lost in the font contour if needed, but don't have to be complete, right? So it's kind of rough there. But for this one, I don't. It's already for me. I have this kind of natural soft contour. You see that difference. So I just add little dashes, but vary the density and maybe its width as well to create a rhythm, some dense and some sparse, maybe some long, some short. Create a rhythm. It still can have a little curve. No, won't hurt. And I do have the natural contour here also. So let me enhance this part, and some part may be more shady, or you can do a little bit shading near the contour. You can not dry brush, just add a little dry brush to complete the feel of 3D-ness. What do you think?
I like it.
Thank you. Let me see yours. Very good. The distance could be more rhythmic. It means this part is wider. See, this two, yeah. That's
Okay.
yours has some difference, but you want to exaggerate that next time. Just so this, whenever you have the parallels, just try to vary the angle and distance to make it more interesting. Okay.
Do you think it should be colored or no?
That's okay. Good question. You can color it with a little brown and maybe a little bit indigo for the leaf. This kind of leaf is very dark, so you can use indigo. Let me see if I can. I don't have the Chinese color with me. I just use regular watercolor.
Okay.
Let's do a little bit amber, raw amber, or burnt sienna. You can mute it with some blue to make it grayer, or add yellow to make it lighter. And let's just glaze. Just the glaze. Just try. Oh, sorry. I tried to do it in one stroke, just like how we did the ink. Yeah. Because the color is light. If it go beyond the ink, it's okay. Just do it randomly. A dry brush would be fine. It's more controlled, like that. Very light, right? That's an accident.
It's okay.
It will be lighter. If you want to lighter, you can use water to drive it back a little bit or lighten it. That's sometimes I do, and you can blot it to. Sorry. I think it's spam call. I think the flower part could be a little yellow. Do you think? But you don't want to lose the white either. Just add a little bit yellower to the brown, and then change it to indigo if you want. I use a neutral tint with some blue maybe to mimic indigo. Oh, I would just use the same kind of stroke. Instead of wash, I just do another round of a stroke. It could be under the original, just or between the original strokes. It's like highlighting, right? You understand?
I think so. You don't want to lose all your light.
I don't really wash. I apply the color with the same kind of brush work, same stroke.
Mm-hmm.
Just highlighting it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think the trunk could be like this color, yellow, brown later. So you can use same color, but I think it's better to make it lighter, right? So I add some water just to dilute this. I still like the light ink effect, so you don't have to do too much on that. Just dilute it. So the color goes with the ink. If the ink is light, the color should be lighter. Otherwise, it will surpass the weight of the ink, right? So you want to match the color. Incidentally, I learned a way of thinking or problem solving in in a sign in a barber shop. You go to a barber shop, especially small ones, you have lots of questions, right? So this barber have a sign there with a three pointer. One, if you want structure by cutting, so you want to answer, you want how long, right? Something like that. You want to cut. So cut for structure. And then the second question is shape. If you like a better shape or form, you want to iron, right?
Oh.
Perm. You call it perm, right? In Chinese we say iron because they use heat, right? The perm is for form. And if you want perfection,
Wow.
color. So 3 questions. I think that's perfect for painting,
Yeah.
isn't it? So structure first. Structure is like a line, the gesture, the line, the movement, right? Like determine how long, how wide. That's and then where's the trunk, right? That's structure. And then form. So you need to including these lines, this texture line is to create the shape or the 3D volume, like to make it more 3D. Structure is very abstract, right?
Yeah.
And form is more concrete. And if you want perfect, to add the ice on the cake, that's the color.
Yeah, it's the icing
So
on the
color
cake.
is, so when you think of color, the color is the last question. You don't have to emphasize on that, but it helps the other two. I'm going to use this analogy for my class later.
There you go.
So the Dao, like say the way, is the same. Whatever you have done before, it's with the way you passed. So you the great way or method applies to other skills and professions or whatever. So that's the meaning of the way, the way.
That's good.
So
good.
that's one for this page.
One.
So the next one is the Tung. Tung is the wood that we make the suit. Some of the suit are pines. The oil is for lacquer. So Tung is a very beautiful.
They use that
tree.
on furniture, I think.
Furniture wood is very light. We use that for instrument as well. So this is one. Let me see. I just go like that. Great. So I got this one. Yeah. So this one is supposed to have the outlined, because the color is the leaf is pretty wide. We can use bonus or direct method. I can show you that. So if you have time, you can study the outlined one yourself. I'm going to show you how to do it within 20 minutes. That's what we have.
That's good.
However, I will use the outlined trunk. So you can use a thinner brush, maybe if needed, to draw with the light. This is like those apps. What do you call this tree that has the white trunk? Aspen tree. When you do aspen tree, you with the same thing. You use light ink to start with. You can add a little brown it if you want it, or you can highlight it later. So I'm going to do this trunk first. I don't have to see this. I just use the reference on the screen. So there are knobs, right? Which one is in the front? The left one. The left one, right? So we do this one first, but it's shorter. So you want to make sure it's short. I start with this arm where the split starts, roughly here, and then go slant, a little bit slant down. Not perfectly straight, but with relatively straight. This tree is pretty straight. Yeah, it's like that. And when you do the left, think about the right, or do the right, think about the left in this case. So you just match the thickness, right? So here is a branch going up on the right side. You have a hook hook stroke. Remember this one?
Yes, I have it.
Hook like that. And then you go down from the top down and look at the left side again, and go down here, down here, and there's a little knob, so you have a square there, and go down like that, and you just make up this half circle square, like a knob, and there's a little bark something there, and something there. And if the brush is dry enough, you can do this little horizontals. Again, it's like the shading when you paint some of this like a figure arms. It has little roundness, created the volume, not just the shading, also the volume, the roundness. Here is another trunk on top. You want to maybe have a pool of light ink, so you don't run out. I think you can have a little bit variation if you need it. So I start from this lower stroke there, and then match that go from inside out, outside in now. Now there's a little split here, right? And a few strokes for a fork. Didn't really get exactly like that, but you can add as you like. So this is a branch in front of the main trunk, inside that. So
Yes.
this creates 4 directions. We call it 4 directions, and then go up. Here there's another branch like that, right? And look at the left when you do the right, it becomes thinner. And then here's a hanging stroke. Sorry, this is interesting. It needs this one. It's supposed to not. Right? Anyway, here is a hanging stroke from top like that. Let me make a little difference. So it goes a little bit to the side. This one sometimes it can be ambiguous where, and this one could go. Actually, this creates community. This continuous line, but different entities, but with the same kind of flow. That helps. Anyway, let's continue that. So they facing each other. We call it welcoming lines or branches, right? Just like the famous painting with God and angel, the pointing fingers to each other, like that. The upper part, so it looks like this part always go up, whatever. So here we need to worry about the top of the crown. So you want to make sure if it's out of room, you don't have to do this branch just to make a ending right now. And so you want to give room for the main tree on the right side.
Right.
On the so you can adjust where these branches will be. Adjust it. Adjust a little bit. It's different than the sample. So here's the crown, right? All right, and I will do it a little darker. Don't know if this one, it must be behind because there's overlapping of this tree. Obviously from this branch, I don't know where exactly. You can just leave it to fill in the blank with. You don't make it overlapping there. So we do this overlapping branch, no matter where it come from this tree, obviously. That comes first before we do the second tree. This one must come first. Let's just do this horizontal part. This horizontal part in front of
this is the overlapping branch, right?
This is the overlapping branch from the first tree. I can just make it connected so you can see what's going on.
Okay.
All right, and then let's do the other one. Let me lighten it. It's behind. So that I start from here going down. Notice the negative shape is not parallel. It's going towards this tree, but not going to a cross, right? So something like that, right? And my brush is pretty wet, it's smeared. Now I have this hanging branch below this one, going out and then down, going up again. Not really up, but it has a tendency to reach the sun, even it's hanging down. It has this life force, we call it. So it's not a dead branch. You understand?
Yeah.
So it has this tendency. This is dead branch, but this is dead branch. Anyway, so it's a little bit cut up. I try to make it kind of still alive. Here, just watch the left wing to the right, and make some holes, swirling like that. It's similar to pine, but not so squarish, more rounded, and also these barks are rounded, just like horizontal. Some trees like cherry trees, like the one we just did, palm, similar to this kind of texture, horizontal. Leave the center kind of highlighted so you don't paint through. That create a highlight on the trunk. Another 3D feel. See that? It's almost like shading, right? Also texture and shading. Okay, now I add a little bit more. And here I have another split right above, another negative shape to capture, going up, and then it's a fork, 3-branch fork like that. My ink dries on the plate quickly. Now there's a hanging stroke going down. Again, you see this line almost identical. I didn't try to do it, but it's pointing to each other. But they're separate trees. They don't touch even each other. But it creates some kind of uniform for me. Simplify things, right? So it's like a gridded with grid, same kind of angle for all this done. 45 degree or 30 degree. It's almost identical. And go up. There are some leaves in the front. You can just leave a blank for now. Leave a brick for now. Then go up. Just void some of the trunk. So otherwise we call it X-ray tree. You see like some split in half, right?
Oh,
so there, if you don't have branches in front or leaves in front, it's an X-ray tree. And I think it will be easier if we do the leaves, but it's also a good training. You think just like the empty stroke when you paint the shadow of a 3D ladder that we drilled last class in the group class. Same thing. You have to think. You have a that forward thinking to avoid since you comes after. So okay. And the crown, it has this nice. I want to capture that before I go out of room. I want to have that little bare branches on top, something like that, just like a opened finger or some hand, and then the fork there, something on the left under it, right? Something on the right, kind of going back like that. So I just paint this negative shape. I don't know what exactly going on there, but I want to create this little hole, sky hole or something there, and just make it easy. A little more texture. Now, ready for the leaves.
Okay.
I'll use a soft brush or combination brush, and you can load, if you want, you can load some yellow and ink.
I'll use yellow. I'll have it out.
Light yellow mixed with ink. So it has.
Light yellow mixed with ink?
I just clean my palette. It got some greens. You can have some blue to get a little green, yellowish green. It's just make it very because this kind of tree is very pale, very pale green. It's not like the dark leaves. So yeah, we can add veins, add those leaf veins to it later. But you can have little ink. It's a little bit dark on the tip to create some interesting effect. Let's see. I'll give it a try here on the first one, and you can find a spot where it's not very important. Maybe here to start with. So there are three sections. 1, 2, 3, right? And just add a little more.
2, 3.
Just go like that. Yes, 1, 2. 1, 2. It's pretty fat, so it might become a blob, but try to keep it separate as possible. Maybe a little bit to show the 3, but here is blurred, and that's okay. You know what I mean? So you don't have to make it like a pattern exactly all the time. So do this, and if the dark, you can cover the branch a little bit. That's easier. And if it's light, just go behind, right? So 1, 2, 3. So this is pretty fat leaves, right? Pretty fat. The Tung tree. We have this kind of tree, maybe similar in this kind of leaves. This branch is in the front. Either make it very saturated or dark. I think maybe we make it saturated. More yellow. Let's see if it works. Just add a little brown. I mean amber. Let's see if it's a little warmer. 1, 2. 3. The top part could be a little more color and saturated, a bit more yellow. Maybe the lower part could be more ink. And you can just paint the upper part. In watercolor, you need to worry about that even more, right? So let's do something like this here. And
Are you using a red in there too?
I have some dirty colors. I don't know.
Oh,
I
okay.
just clean my
No,
water.
that-
It could
I
be.
like that. I like the way that looks.
I got some warm yellow here. That's cat yellow, they call it. You can add some red in it, just to
A little vermilion here.
highlight it. I just add a little more on the here to distribute that color. It's more like autumn. Let me add some more blue to cool it down now. We have some here. We saved some space. If you have, you can do that now. 1, 2, 3. And some in the front. Right. I missed some branches here. You can make it up, I think. Otherwise, you have to keep the branches in mind when you do the leaves. So it's kind of hard. But it's also interesting that you have some leaves in front instead of behind, like this, and then you continue like that. And this is a nice branch. This is a very nice branch going like that, going to the right, and then turn back a little bit, and then continue this side. And you can use the same kind of letter writing technique. Instead of doing the outline, you just do the shady part. You see what I mean? I use dry brush, just suggest and leave some white. It will create an illusion of, and you can use this leaf, squeeze out some of the white line. So it leave a little white line in between the branch and the leaf. You'll create a missing contour for the little branches. So you don't have to outline it, double line it, just to suggest the roundness, the thickness of that with the color. So you can leave a little white line there. You don't have to be deliberate. Sometimes it's very subtle, but if you have it, it's better. People can sense it. You know what I mean? Here there's some dry branch. I see. Like that to end this branch. So just take that, and then out of yellow. So I will use most color on this main tree and then more ink on the other maybe, so that will create some kind of distinction between the host and guest. Hope. Yeah, sometimes I don't have to do all the groups. I just want to make a little, a few groups clear near the edges, and then the center could be blurry, and create dense and sparse that way too. And looks like my tree is more fuller, so you can even paint everything on top and just leave this one maybe as a bold. Anyway, you don't have to leave that bold top. Let's see. The one on the left, I add a little more ink just to cover this crown. First, it's light ink though. If it's dark, it will grab too much attention. Yeah. You don't want to have it too heavy. Yeah. They don't really touch, I think. They overlap here. And you want to make clear which one is which here. So I use ink for this left tree, and anyway, that overlap. This one is actually in the front according to this indicator, right? So this one could have a little more ink to be in the front, I just add a little pink. But it has color in it. Well, hard to keep consistency with all the
Hold on,
logics.
let me take a picture of that.
Oh, sure. Let me see if I can zoom out.
It's good.
Use dark against the light to contrast out since I need it. That's it, I think. Oh, you can, after it dries, I think you can do the veins with the three strokes, like the little, what we call this, individual character for bamboo groove. Just do it in the, let me see if it's dry enough. You can iron it. One. Oh, this brush is really dry, so not even, I was worried about the smear. So you can add a little bit. Don't have to do every one, I think. But they do form like a little bird kind of shape. You have to draw them from the same starting point where the leaf stem is, right? To hold them together. That's the
So you want to draw in some vein lines. That's what you're saying.
vein, the split from center end. If you look at the handout, you'll see what I mean. One.
I see them. You just need, you don't have to do them all though.
No, you don't have to. Just another opportunity to correct things. You can redefine. If this stroke is too big, right? I can divide it into disturb that. If this is like two stroke blurred, I can redefine it. So that's the idea, kind of redefine things. You don't have to do the pattern all the time. Sometimes it's a side view or curved leaves. Just create some more depth and interest. And that's why it's good to paint wet into wet. Create more interesting effect. If it's too flat, here your color is kind of flat, it adds another definition to it or variation. See, and you can tighten things, group things, or redefine shapes. Just like any other elements, you want to keep the good ones. Don't destroy your best part, right? And that's all.
That's it.
Good
Got
timing. Yeah, we did both pages.
Both pages,
on
yes,
time.
very good.
Yeah.
Okay, Henry. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Keep your spirit high.
I know, I'm really working at that because
Yeah.
it does show. It's amazing how
Yeah,
it
try
transfers.
not to repeat the same painting too many times. That will get you bored, maybe. Especially you don't have a clear goal to improve. So you can just submit the one you thought before you try to do it again. So maybe you can go on to do something else. If you do something 4 times, 5 times, everybody will get bored.
That's true. Henry,
Thank
see
you.
you. Bye-bye.
See you.